What is up, and welcome back to episode 131. Just had to say that of the Girl Gangs podcast. I'm Amber P.
I'm Alexis Adams.
And for today's episode, y'all, it is Alexis's peak week. But first, before we jump into it, I want to say that we are entering into a busy season. So Alexis is off to the races. She's competing. I'm off to the races. It's just show travel. So we're going to do our best to bring you guys episodes. But if we skip a week, please have grace with us. It's a busy time right now. So we're doing the best that we can. So, Alexis, you surprised us. Well, you didn't surprise me. You're doing a show sooner than what you had said. Let's talk about it.
Yes, so we planned Toronto since I started switched to Stefan, and he's been liking my conditioning. Well, I saw him at the New York Pro. He was there in person, so I got to do it like an in-person check-in with him. And then the next day when we were at the show, he was like, "Are there any shows sooner, like next weekend?" And I was like, yes, there were, but I was like, no, we're not doing that. He just like, I looked different in person than I did just in photos a little bit, I think. But
Yeah.
also, we've kind of been pacing ahead, so then we ended up ready early. So, um, and the what made it easier is Miami is 2 hours from where I am. So it's like an easy drive. We don't even have to go until Friday morning, and it's
Yeah.
not like travel stress isn't really there. So if I'm ready, it was kind of silly to say no. Um, but what will be interesting is that we are also doing Toronto still. So it'll be back to back peak weeks that I've never done that before. So I don't know what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Like what stressors do you push, but not too far because you have to like then repeak another week later. It'll be interesting. So I'm going to document that. I'm documenting peak week now,
Yeah.
but the back to back peak week experience like will have to be its own thing afterwards.
Yeah. I this I know everyone's bodies are different. I did it and it was way easier than what I had expected it was going to be because it sounds daunting, but I think just from being on the outside, having a front row seat, watching, and you being under a different protocol, I think you're going to be fine. I think it's going to be just fine.
Um, did you guys do anything for your first peak week going into your second peak week that you hadn't done before?
No, it so basically for me, we just kept everything the same. So what Jay likes to do with me is just basically like peel me down because once she's peeled me down, we're fine from there, and it's just a matter of filling up and holding. That's it. So nothing changed. I honestly found the second peak easier because I had food in me. Like I was being fed in versus the first one when it's like the actual getting feed in, the lead up part is hard, but then once you're there, you just coast.
Yeah, that's what I've been told. Like the second peak week in, and I like you really should come in better to the second
Yeah.
show just by that kind of like rolling the dice and rewinding it again.
Definitely. I know for me, like I always look better the second show anyway. The first show's a little okay, let's see, but by the time we get to the second one, it's like spot on the money. So
Like things
it's
clicked in.
yes, exactly, exactly. Yeah, you're gonna be great, great, great. And I saw you posted a YouTube video. I started watching it. I gotta go finish it. Good job.
So
I
the one I posted like about 6 weeks out or whatever was taken down. So I was like, okay.
I, I
And
still
I
can't
couldn't
figure
figure
that
like I
out.
replayed it. I've replayed it and thought about reposting it, but I'd imagine they'll just take it down again. So
I I've never seen. I don't know. That one broke my brain. I couldn't figure that out. That was annoying. All right. First question: do you typically manipulate water and sodium? How does your carb loading process look?
so yes, we do usually manipulate all of them. So we tend to, even with Nelson, we would kind of deplete at the beginning of peak week and going into peak week, and then have to fill back out. So then you kind of control in a perfect world, if the science works, the how much the muscle fills out rather than having. Where'd you go?
What
Oh,
happened?
did it pause?
Can you see me?
Yeah. Now
Okay. We're
it
still
was like
recording.
it was just an A.
Okay. Yeah, I'm here. I could hear you. I moved my microphone. I think I hit something. We're still good.
Okay. So if they can, like they'll deplete and pull kind of the fullness out of everywhere, and then if you get your salt and your carbs and your water right, you can fill it out perfectly. That's kind of where you peak before it kind of all goes back to like your body likes homeostasis. So it's going to make everything as even as possible within ratios. So if you're just full all the time, your body's just dispersing things where it needs rather than where it wants. So if you completely deplete it, pull the muscle or pull the glycogen in the water out of the muscle, and then fill it out at a certain rate, then you can push the muscle against the skin, and there's no water in between, and that's kind of what gives a softness.
Yeah. It's kind of like it makes it because you depleted it and then filled it back up, it looks fresher versus if you were just walking around the pool on a regular basis.
Yes, and it's all going to go intramuscular before it pulls back sub Q. So it's like you peak, it gets there, and then everything settles. That's why
Absolutely.
it's called peaking. You have to get the
Yes.
timing
Yes.
right.
Oh, for sure. For sure. It's man, the body is an amazing thing. Let's see. Um oh, this is a good well, I guess that kind of answers this. What is the goal of peak? We kind of went over
Well,
that.
some of these I think were kind of asking in different ways the same thing.
Yeah, that's why I'm like taking a minute. Do you stop chewing gum? If so, when? That's a good question.
Um, so I have, yes, and I stopped just like yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't do it in like if you don't chew gum like a crazy person,
Mhm.
then and it doesn't cause you any disruptions, then I mean, you could do it all the way in. Some people do. For me, I get carried away, and then I have too much gas in my belly from the sugars.
Yeah. At girl power, Olivia walks up to me and she like hands me her gum. I was like, "No, thank you. I don't chew gum." She's like, "No, you need to keep this from me because I'm out of control." I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Okay."
At the show.
Yeah. Then after the show, I was like, "You want your gum back?" She was like,
It's hard. I've told you guys that I'm like no more gum ever, no more gum. And then I could do it in like minimal amounts, but then it kind of got out of control again. So I have a gum addiction.
Yeah.
Um, I will have to break again.
Yeah. I mean, I can see how. I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
Like it
It
gets to the point like when it's more the flavor and something to chomp on. So once the flavor fades, I spit it out and get two more.
Oh. Oh, this is a good question. What has been your rose and thorn of this prep? That's deep.
The rose could be Stefan.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then there hasn't been a thorn. Like there hasn't.
I'll say this, and this is, I would say, earlier on Alexis or older Alexis or even last season Alexis, I would think your biggest thorn would be the unknown. But this prep, you have grown and evolved so much, which I was very worried about. I was like, how's this going to go with the new coach? Because I know that can just make you so anxious and turn you into a crazy person. And you've been going with the flow with the changes that he makes, even things being thrown at you that you've never done before. I felt that you've just done a really good job at just maintaining your sanity this prep.
Thank you.
So that would have been an old thorn, but yeah, because I was like, oh boy, how's this gonna go? But you've been cruising, cruising, cruising. Let's see. How well um what are both of your ultimate goals, biggest dream with competing?
What? Say the beginning of that again.
Basically asking what are our goals and dreams with competing.
Mm, I want to make sure that I have become the best that I can be
Hmm.
uh, within the sport, whatever that is, and that's it.
Yeah,
Like goals, dreams,
yeah.
place in the top five at the Olympia, I guess,
There
is the
you go.
dream.
Yes, yes, there you go. For me, my goal is to be competitive. That's my goal. If I can be competitive, I'll be content. How's your water? How do you like Florida compared to Virginia? Also, what helps in developing those diamond glutes?
um, a lot of hip thrusts, cable kickbacks, which I used to try to avoid. Um, Bulgarian split squats. Do those three twice a week. Heavy
All,
twice a week.
all the things we hate.
Um, and then I don't know. It's just like very different cultures. Um, especially like Southern Virginia and then Southern Florida. Like, um, but I like the weather here more than I dislike it. It is very hot, but I
Mhm.
do like that it's summer all the time. Um, and then I do not like that there are alligators
Watch your
in
puppy.
all of the water.
Watch your puppy.
Oh,
Like
we don't go that way. We go the other way.
yes. Yeah.
Further up.
Yes.
I saw
Like
a no alligator sign, and they were like, "Well, I mean, they're not going to just chase you out of the water. We're not going to lure them." So,
Nope. For us people who are not Floridians, that is wild. That is insane. Like I'll send Murillo videos sometimes of just like a gator in the front of someone's house. He's like, yeah, like whenever I used to live in Florida, like I'd go in my backyard, and there'd just be some hanging out in my backyard. I'm like, what did you do with your dog? He's like, oh, we just didn't let him go back there. I'm like, so you just let the gator hang out in your backyard? Like,
I guess if you don't have a good gate, then I mean they could if they want, or if, especially if you have food back there in the trash. Yeah, I think um, what I liked more about Virginia though is that you're gonna get all of the seasons, and like
mm,
autumn is my favorite season.
oh,
So we won't get that here, but
that's okay. It's all right. It's all right. And you have way more to do, I'm sure. Like things are closer to you, vicinity wise, like shopping. So that
yeah,
makes sure just everyday life easier for sure.
yeah, yes.
Exfoliating skincare schedule for peak week.
I started yesterday.
Good girl.
I use liquid sun rays. So I get their whole skin prep kit. It comes with like an exfoliator. I use the charcoal scrub, and then it has a pH balance body wash with it. So that's what I use. Your pH balance, the exfoliating with whatever. Use whatever you want to exfoliate, and the balancing of your skin pH is the most important part of the tan. So you want to exfoliate, but then you also want to rinse every shower, like your last soap to be neutral. So your homemade concoction is baking soda, water, and Dawn soap. That's what you use to wash and rinse and get out of out of the shower. That's the last thing you do.
It's a whole thing. It's like a
Huh?
whole. I said it's a whole thing.
It is.
Like when you really think about
Yes.
all the stuff that we have to go through and do, like it's just this is a thing, man.
Yeah, and exfoliate every day. Doing 2 peak weeks back to back is exfoliating my whole top layer of skin off.
Yeah, so that was tough. That was tough because my first thought was, "Oh crap, like I need to get this off like right now because then you got to go back on." I feel like the second time with the tan, trying to get it off the second time, it wasn't coming off. It was like
Oh,
on.
well, it's sunk into fresh skin. Um, okay, noted. I'll just be brown for a bit.
Yeah, yeah. Because typically I can get it off pretty good on me, and obviously, like I'm black, so you don't notice it as much. The second time around, I was like, "Oh, it's in. It's not coming off." How quickly was your weight dropping each week? Will you be carbing up into show?
um, Sometimes a pound, sometimes nothing. It kind of would like teeter back and forth. I might have 2 consistent weeks of like a pound drop, and then it kind of levels for a week, and that's irritating. Or like when I started doing daily check-ins, it's like it would teeter depending on when I was training, when I had off, but it would be like one day I'm like this number, and one day I'm zero point 0.4 up, and if I train 2 days in a row, then I'm gonna be like 2 pounds up, and it's like kind of teetered back and forth. But I would say like over the haul, a pound ish a week. Um, but it also wasn't at the pace that I thought it would have been, because I thought like I was so kind of concerned because I thought I needed to like get pretty low, in weight. Because my last peak week weight was 138, so I'm like hanging in the 150 still. I'm like, eh. So I was kind of worried about that, but now I'm ready and I'm still 6 pounds up from the Olympia weight. So the rate was appropriate for my prep. But prep is not linear, so don't get fixated on a number. And
Mhm.
then what was the second part of the question?
It was, will you be carbing up into show day?
Yes, and I printed it earlier because it's a little bit
Mhm.
different than what I've done. Um, we will still go day by day, but right now he has me eating a decent amount of carbs each meal. The tentative days to carb up would be Thursday and Friday. Um, so, but like he uses rice milk, which is like almond milk, but from like it's rice.
Mhm.
So it has just a higher carb content. Um, And so like that's a good way to get carbs in that's easy to digest and shuttle without any bloat,
Oh, he's
because
smart.
it's fluid. So yeah, like genius.
I
And
might
then also
consider that.
he has banana in here, which I'm excited because I've
Oh,
not had a banana. And then uh, raisins, which he drops protein a significant amount, like significant.
yeah.
Um, like if my instead of 100 grams of protein or 150, it's 30. Like
Oh,
protein goes way down, and it's because you're getting so many carbs. You don't need the protein from like you're not trying to grow muscle this week, so it
yes.
helps like not cause bloating because it helps digestion.
Mhm.
Um, but to also, I guess, help with digestion is raisins because of the fiber. And I
Yeah.
told you guys before, like apple thing. So I think it's just to make sure diet goes well. I like raisins, so I'm gonna give it a shot and just mix it into my cream of rice or something.
Yeah. I've been eating raisins in my oatmeal for like the past 2 weeks. I love raisins, so it's like, yeah, sounds good. Now that rice meal, I'm gonna try that because that's my biggest issue on peak week when I start to carb up is because like I have to eat a lot of carbs, and I'm just like by the end of the day, I'm like I'm done. Like by the time it's like day 2 of the carb up, I'm like I can't eat no more. This is too much on my stomach. So
Yeah,
what?
yeah. So that's how Martin is too. So he actually, what I'm gonna try to do, because I don't not want to drink rice milk. I don't know what that tastes like, and I don't want it. But he just like used it as his water for like cream of rice.
Yeah. Oh,
So then you're getting the carbs in both
yeah.
forms.
That makes sense. Smart, smart. How do you deal with your brain not functioning properly?
Push off the not necessary at the time things, like you only have room kind of for one thing at a time, and focus on one thing at a time. If you try to keep up with too many things, I find myself getting frustrated with myself more about the prep brain if I'm trying to put too many things on the prep brain plate. So, and then you're like, can't keep up with it. You've got like ADHD, no matter if you're diagnosed or not. And it's like you're a mile a minute, but it's going nowhere. So,
Yeah.
one thing at a time, and don't put too many things on the plate.
Yeah. I just write everything down. I keep a notebook in my purse or in my bag, and if I think of something, then I just write it down because it's just hard. It's just hard sometimes to remember things.
It is. And like I am a list person. I've got lists everywhere this week of like this is what I need from Miami. This is what I need for Toronto. Like this is what I need to do. This is what I need to buy. Like lists everywhere. But then I literally mark it off. Like
Mhm.
old school list, pen and paper.
Yeah. Like I remember getting ready to go into my pro debut, like I was just my mind was so all over the place. I literally had to write text so and so back because my brain was kind of like I'm not going to remember. Do you track macros or follow a meal plan?
I have always in bodybuilding followed a meal plan. So I can interchange like clean carb sources or like chicken versus fish sources and stuff. Um, but it's always meal plan form. And I find that the successful people who use macros kind of just create their own meal plan from the macros. Like it's still the same thing, the same meals every day.
Yep, that's exactly what I do. I do macros. Jay dropped food hard on me, and like I check in on Thursdays, and she changes my macros. I'll make my meal plan, and I eat the same thing until she makes an adjustment. And even when she makes an adjustment, I'm not really changing foods out. I'm just it's lower. Obviously, I'm not eating as much. When I have to start changing foods out, normally it's because my fats are low. So I have to start going towards more leaner protein sources, but it's very basic, it's very plain, it's nothing crazy at all.
Yeah.
And then also it helps too because the issue with macro people is like if you're like eating different stuff every single day, and let's say if something's like bothering your digestion, you don't know what it is. Like something that I've been going through this week is on Tuesday, I haven't been eating ground turkey that often in off season. Like I definitely have it at least twice a week, but I haven't been having it every single day. And I noticed on Tuesday my stomach was upset. Wednesday I was a mess because I couldn't go to the bathroom. Thursday I check in. I'm like, hey, I look tighter. I'm 2 pounds up, but my stomach is killing me. I don't know what's going on. Finally, did the smooth move thing because I couldn't take it anymore. Friday comes, I feel better. I eat ground turkey, and then 30 minutes later, my stomach starts hurting. So I'm like, it's the ground turkey.
Yeah.
So pulling that out. And so I just text Jay. I said, eventually there's not going to be anything left for me to eat. What are we going to do? That was my dramatic moment for the week. So yeah, with macros, when you're eating the same thing, it's easier for you to track if something does go wonky with your digestion. That is laws. Lessons learned from your last peak week to this peak week.
Sorry, I choked on my water.
Oh no.
Um, I think the biggest thing is like I'm still 6 pounds up right now from my Olympia weight. Um, so like why? And I think we just kind of overdid it going in like cardio or diet or a combination of the two. Um, So I think we gave like rest and recovery a significant heaviness this prep. And not that I didn't focus on it before, but like you always improve at variables. So I just got better at it, and um, less cardio and more food over more time, I guess.
And sleep. You got a lot of sleep.
I did get a lot of sleep.
You got a lot of sleep. All right, y'all. So that is going to wrap up Alexis's Peak Week. Catch her on stage this weekend. Yeah, because we're recording this on Memorial Day. This will go up before the show. So catch her on stage, Miami. Is there a stream for? I can check to see if there's a stream.
There is, yes. I'll post the link like closer because, and then I'm gonna say, don't DM me it for it. It's right here.
No, don't do that. All right, so me and my clients will be watching bodybuilding on Saturday because that will be on. I've done that before. They're like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "Bodybuilding." You're gonna watch it with me. So look out for the stream link. Do not message her asking her questions. She's busy. And then after that, you're going to be going to Toronto for the Toronto Pro. That's going to be awesome. I'm so sad I'm not able to be there, but I will be there in spirit. And then you don't know, you're kind of taking it. You'll see what happens with these two and then make your decisions from there as far as if you do anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. And then it is, let's see what we got. Junior Nats coming up. I have 2 more spots left for Junior Nats. I have an athlete that literally just messaged me about it. So by the time this goes up, I'll probably only have 1 more spot. And hit up Alexis for posing. Hit me up for stage glam. If you guys have anything you want us to touch on, please message us via the Girl Games podcast on Instagram. And that is it. We will chat with y'all next week.
Bye, guys.